I really like these songs. I really am interested in your band. And I was like, trash talk? Like, you're not talking to the right guy. Like, I'm just like the fill-in drummer. And he's like, trash talk? No, dude, this email I have here, it's can't swim. I was like, oh, what?
My name's Adam, and this podcast is about you, your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new record with Can't Swim coming out end of next month.
Yeah, October 22nd.
Very cool, man. Well, first off, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and then my parents moved to New Jersey. Raised in New Jersey on the shore. Yeah, on the old Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore. Right on, man. What was that like?
Conflicted. No, it was lovely.
Why do you say lovely. That?
Yeah, just like anywhere, right? It's got pros and cons. Yeah, it was great. Music was very adamant around where I grew up, Philly and New York City. I was like kind of in the middle of both of those cities, and going to shows as a kid, starting bands with everybody in my town. I don't think, if I had a chance, which none of us do, but if I could go back, I wouldn't change it.
Right on. So how did you get into music? You said you went to shows around the area.
Yeah, so I started playing drums when I was 12 years old, and the long, boring story is my mom was a rocker, and she grew up in apartment buildings and never could fit a drum set. So when she started dating my dad, she was like, oh great, this dude's got a house, I'll buy a drum set now. put it in his basement, and the nuisance of me came around. She got pregnant and never got to play the drums, and my dad's brother, my uncle, was like, there's a drum set down here. He started joining punk bands in his early 20s, and then I came around and I went down there and started jamming on the same set that was eventually, it was intended for my mom to play. And then I was hooked, and that's how the story goes.
Wow, that's interesting. So mom is a musician. Did she just never learn to play drums? She was fascinated by drums?
Exactly. Zero musical ability. But when she was a kid, we're talking like she started dating my dad when she was 17. So she was like, wow. Oh yeah, like I want to learn. Mm-hmm. Never learned. And then my uncle learned, and then I learned, and now I'm still doing it at 32 years old. So here we go.
Wow, that's incredible. You drum, but you don't drum for the band, right?
No. I record some of the drum parts, but I played drums my whole life. Can't Swim was more or less like a passion project. Later down the line, when I was like 25, 26, I wanted to learn how to play guitar. I wanted to like take a foot in songwriting, and Can't Swim was that idea. And now I do it all the time. So
wow, okay.
Yeah.
So is mom really big into music? It sounds like you said she's a rocker. What was that? Some of the influence that spilled over to you?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. She's like a Rush fanatic. She loves Rush, and we actually just went to go see like a Rush movie together last week. I've seen Rush with her at least 20 times. She's seen them. Yeah, she's seen them nearly 100 times. Like crazy stuff. Yeah.
How do you see Rush 20 times?
Yeah,
did you guys like follow them? I mean, how many shows a tour do you go to?
Maybe 5.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess you're fairly close in the area, right? Around New York.
Yeah, we did like Philly, Madison Square Garden, Connecticut, but spanning over like a decade,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like they're such a bizarre band. I feel like there's such like a love or hate. Like some people would be like, oh my God, this is like torture to my ears. And then others are like die hard Rush people, So.
Right. But I mean, to be a drummer, what a way to, what a person to watch.
Yeah. The shoes were very large to fill, as, obviously Can't Swim, I don't think necessarily sounds like Rush, but as a youngster, it definitely was a big part of my interest in music for sure.
That is awesome. And you talked about bands. Well, at 12, what drew you to playing drums? I mean, obviously they were downstairs, but were you getting more and more into music?
Yeah, my Uncle Mike, honestly, he was the biggest culprit. He would show me music. And and I would watch his band play down there, and it was just, yeah, it just like ignited the interest. And yeah, once I started taking more drum lessons, started hooking up with people in my area, and then it just went. Yeah, I didn't have like an older brother or anything, so you know, before that, I was like listening to like Puff Daddy and In Sync, probably,
Rad.
like whatever was on the radio.
Sure.
Luckily, he stepped in, and I didn't go down that path in my life.
So he was in a punk band. Did he have any success, or does he kind of
Yeah, I mean, he played in a bunch of
follow you?
things.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he had a lot of different avenues creatively. He actually was an actor, and then his acting kind of parlayed into directing, and that's what he
Wow.
does mostly now. That's probably his most most often. He's doing directing rather than playing. But
Mhm.
yeah, big inspiration to me. Just a creative person. Loved music. Loved the arts. Yeah, I definitely look back, and if it wasn't for him, like I said, I'd probably be still into Puff Daddy.
Maybe you'd be a rapper.
There's still time.
There is.
There's,
There is
there's,
still time.
there's, I'm still young in some people's eyes.
There you go. Well, what were your first bands? Like, what'd you guys sound like?
Oh man, my first band. I'm gonna give you the blank. I'm not gonna give you too much of the information, but I'll tell you what we sounded like. First band I was ever in was very like traditional emo, so it was like
Okay.
Mineral and like Sunny Day Real Estate, like
Okay.
90s. Yeah,
Rad. Yeah.
yeah, kind of like I was way too young to be playing music like that, cool and mature. It was like
Yeah.
I feel
That
like,
sounds like some pretty dope influences. I
yeah,
mean,
I was
wow.
lucky to get with a couple dudes who were much older than me. So I was like 12, 13. They were like already 20 and like learning about good music in college. But yeah, we did that for a couple years. Then I played in a bunch of like little New Jersey hardcore bands, and then I started playing with a band called Trash Talk in my mid 20s, right before I started Can't Swim. So that I didn't have a very lavish drumming career. It was it was small potatoes compared to what I do now with Can't
Uh-huh.
Swim, but definitely made me learn a lot about touring and how to do a band, and which was lucky to have that information before I started being kind of the songwriter and the guy in charge, because I kind of already knew the lay of the land a little bit.
Sure. So you were already touring prior to starting this project?
Trash Talk toured a lot.
Okay.
And pretty sizable things. We went to Europe and stuff. So then
Wow.
that kind of really showed me uh the ropes. And then when Can't Swim started, I was like, oh, I've been here before. Like, oh, I know how to settle with a promoter. It kind of was a quick briefing before Can't
Right.
Swim started. Yeah.
Okay. What made you want to start writing music and started kind of move from the drum kit to the front
Yeah.
guy?
So there was like a little bit of a lull between touring, and I started teaching drums in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Really
Hmm.
cool place. And I was just surrounded by music in a different way. Like, it wasn't gross punk bathrooms anymore. It was like people who could really play. And even like some of my students were like 10 years old and like amazing.
Hmm.
And I just became friends with some of the other teachers, and um I started taking like, hallway lessons. I'm like, oh, can you show me like a chord? Or, I just started to learn more about notes and music theory. And yeah, I bought a laptop and started playing the game and clicking around and learning a lot off YouTube. And that's how Can't Swim started.
Wow. And did you have songs together and what you started pulling in other members, or was it like, did it start as kind of a solo project?
Totally. Death Deserves a Name, which is our first EP,
Hmm.
was predominantly written and recorded by myself. I played the drums and the bass. Um, and then, yeah, by the grace of God, I sang on it, which was like such a nerve-wracking process because I'd
I
never done
bet.
anything. Yeah, it was insane. Um, yeah, and Danny, our guitar player, produced it, recorded it, and that is kind of what brought us to be friends. And then once I got the record deal from Pure Noise, I called Danny. I was like, hey, that thing that you helped me with actually is getting a little bit of traction. Would you want to actually be in the band? And he was like, yeah, that would be great. And then, yeah, the rest is kind of history. And then we started touring and started recording more records, and it was all very, very quick after that.
Wow. Okay. So talk to me about getting signed to Pure Noise. That
So Pure,
seems pretty like, I mean, that's a
yeah,
huge accomplishment, I would imagine, especially as your first real go at it.
dude, sir, it was insane. I remember, I remember getting the phone call and not even being sure he was talking about Can Swim. He's like, oh, I really like these songs. I really am interested in your band. And I was like, trash talk? Like, you're not talking to the right guy. Like, I'm just like the fill-in drummer. And he's like, trash talk? No, dude, this email I have here, it's Can't Swim. I was like, oh, what? It was just like the kind of the game of telephone. I sent it to a very small amount of friends that then sent it to a small amount of friends, and Pure Noise got wind of it and called me on the phone. And I was like, I'm going to be real with you, Mr. Jake. I don't have a van. I don't even have a guitar. I don't even have any members, And yeah, he's like, okay, I'm going to call you next week. If you got some dudes who are willing to play the game, I'm going to sign it. And I said, okay. And I called up some friends, and he was very, very nice and accommodating and supportive. Helped us with our first van payment, gave us some money for the EP. Like, yeah, if it wasn't for Jake and for Pure Noise, I certainly wouldn't be on the phone with you right now. Like, no way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's crazy. So you get this huge opportunity, and then is it like, okay, now what? Like, okay, I got this record deal that have been probably working for your whole music
Yeah.
career.
And like as a drummer, and then all of a sudden I do something as like a hobby as a singer, and it's like, what? Like, this is crazy. Yeah, there was definitely some very nerve-wracking months there. Like when, that was already like such an insane phone call. And then it's like, oh, you have a booking agent now and you're gonna go on tour with this big band. And it was like, what? Like, did I like kind of cash a check my ass? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like,
Write
was
a
I
check
in
your
a
ass can't catch or something.
yeah,
I forgot I used that saying the other day,
it's
and my
hard.
wife's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I don't
I'm
know. I'm
going to
like,
I'm gonna write a check my ass can't cash. Right?
don't let your mouth write a check your ass can't. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
I said it like
Yeah.
the same way that you did. I'm like, and my wife's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"I swear to God, it's a saying."
I flipped a word around. Yeah, definitely, what's another one? Took off more than I can chew, or bit off more than I
bit off more
yeah.
than I could chew. There you go.
Yeah. Let's use that one. I certainly was in over my head. Okay, that's the last. But yeah, but my guys and the team were super supportive, and Danny, our guitar player, who's also our producer, he is an amazing singer. He sat down with me and we worked on technique and everything. Yeah, but in the beginning, like you mentioned, it was certainly a big adjustment period for sure, big time.
Like going from drums to now you have to kind of work the crowd, sing.
I know.
I mean, I can imagine that being terrifying,
Yeah,
right?
standing and playing guitar in the beginning. I started off playing guitar and singing, and now I just sing. But yeah, and like learning about guitar pedals and amps, like it was all, and it was like a month. We had like a month, and then it was like, oh, you're gonna go play a show in Maine. And I was like, what? Okay. Like, is this thing even in tune? Like this? Yeah, it was nuts. And I think that's kind of like how we still operate. It's just like, oh wow, we have to go do that. Like, oh, hopefully we'll just be able to figure it out. And yeah, that was almost 5-6 years ago now.
I was gonna say you've put out a handful of records.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't like some fluke song, that you
I'd like
wrote.
that. I appreciate that. There was the guys always make fun of me because I think I had this period of like texting them being like, I can't write another one. Like, I wrote the 5 of the EP. I'm not gonna. That's it. That's all I have. Like, I only have 5 songs in my being, and they were like, no, it will come. Take your time. And yeah, now we have 50 or 60 different songs, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
When did you
stuff.
start to feel like you had your footing when it came to being like a frontman singer?
Hoping that day comes up soon.
Maybe this next door.
Yeah, I'll message you in a couple of months with good news, hopefully.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, where were you at when the pandemic happened? Like, were you touring?
Pandemic, we were in Europe with in February before it hits the big news publications. We didn't get wind of it at all. It was smooth sailing. It was actually an amazing tour. We fly home. I get home for one day. I fly to Los Angeles to start recording. That recording process gets cut short. The COVID monster is here. I get scared that flights are going to be canceled. I fly home. Yeah, I fly home early, and we actually finish it remotely. So no, we weren't on tour when it happened, but we had tons of tours canceled, just like everybody, of course.
But you were already going to LA to work on this record?
Yeah, I was in LA.
Okay.
So I get to LA maybe like the beginning of March to record an EP that comes out later called Someone Who Isn't Me. And then I'm there for about a week or two. And then I start seeing the Twitter start exploding. And the producer and I are like, what are we going to do, dude? Like, you should maybe go. Like, I'm going to stay in LA because I live here, but like, you should fly home. And then, then there was nothing. Can't Swim was twitching. We were putting out alternative versions of our previous songs, just trying to stay relevant because touring was canceled. Yeah.
But with this, so wait, just so I follow, you were working on an EP that hasn't came out yet prior to COVID, and then you started writing this new record while you started from scratch for this new album?
So the EP has come out. It came out. Yeah, I should have probably did my homework. It came out a few months ago. It wasn't finished in LA is what I meant. I finished it with the producer. It's very electronic. So a lot of the stuff was able to be finished
remotely.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And this was kind of, again, like a passion project. If you listen to it, it's certainly very different. It doesn't really sound like a rock band. It was kind of like something I wanted to do for fun. And then yet again, I sent it to Pure Noise and they were like, no, dude, I think you should do it as Can't Swim. This kicks ass. So we put it out, and it comes out during COVID, and it was kind of like disguised as like a COVID project, but in reality, I was recording it before the pandemic.
Got it. Okay, I wasn't following there. I thought we're working on a totally different EP that you're waiting on.
Gotcha. I'm always writing. This is my little studio here, and I'm always working on stuff. But so then I get back from LA, and then I'm in solitary confinement. I start working on stuff. Some of the demos that make it onto our newest record, Change of Plans, have been old, like 3 or 4 years. Like I've kind of been holding on to a couple of demos that I think needed a certain kind of home, and Change of Plans is that home. So we actually record Change of Plans last August. But it's still not out yet. Yeah. So
was that it was done? Was that something that you wanted to hold on to for a particular reason, or was it just
we were very
nature of it?
We were very hopeful that Miss COVID would, go away, and we wanted to hold on to it until we could get back to touring. And now it it was frustrating, right? Because you're sitting on something that you're pretty proud of for a year. It was a whole year. A year has passed. It comes out.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. It comes out October 22nd, and we hit the road with Silverstein November 4th. So.
Oh, that's huge. What a huge way to support the record. Exactly.
And that's what we wanted to wait for. We didn't want it to be another COVID kind of release. Yeah.
Got it. I was wondering if you had it all mixed, mastered and everything so you couldn't tweak it, or was it something that you kind of would listen to and go like, good, should I go back and change this one little part? Or?
Oh yeah, I am very guilty. I'm very guilty of doing that. But Will Putney, who produced it and mixed it and engineered it, was pretty amazing. Like, I think he sends it to us and we have like very minute mix notes, and then it was good. Yeah, it was in the can and it was finished. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Pretty
And
cool.
yeah, so it's coming out in October, then you're
Yep.
touring it on November. Wow.
Yep.
That is it. Have you played a show yet aside from the Twitch
No,
things? Oh,
no. Back into the world. So that's coming up on almost 2 year, a year and 10 months since we've played a show. Pretty crazy.
wow.
Yeah.
What about practicing? Have you guys had a chance to do that?
So we super brief. I fly up to New Jersey October 27th to start learning the lyrics again.
Okay.
So that should be good. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be a big, I mean, when you hit the stage again, are you worried at all or nervous? Or?
Yeah. What's this, like that movie? What is it? Will Ferrell? I don't know what to do with my hands. Like I'm like, oh no. Like I had 5 years to kind of like get my swag down. But I don't know. We don't really take much too serious. We just try to go and have a good time. So I'm more excited than nervous. So yeah.
That's good. That is good. Well, what about new music? Have you been working on anything? It sounds like this record was done a little bit ago.
Yeah. Quarantine, even though we did the EDM electronic kind of record, we did like this little acoustic versions of our older songs. I'm constantly writing. Demos are certainly in the works. No idea when we'll get around to finishing them and recording, because the last album isn't even out yet. But yeah, I think it's just something that keeps me grounded. Like if I didn't try to write a song every month, I'd probably go insane. So yeah, it's very lucky to have something that kind of calms me down. Also be my career. It's just pretty lucky. So
yeah,
always doing that. But yeah, very excited to put the new album out, man. Like I said, it's been burning a hole in my digital pocket for a year now. So
yeah. What is anything you're super excited for people to hear on the record?
So I was very excited for that first single, "Deliver Us More Evil," because I had a demo of that song almost 4 years ago. It's been really burning a hole in my pocket. Yeah, there's some fun little tricks. Caleb from Beartooth is on a song.
Oh, cool.
Which is pretty ridiculous. It's like a very tongue-in-cheek kind of fun song. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously always excited to release new music, but super excited to show everybody what we've made with this one. Will Putney was a big influence. I think kind of captivating this Can't Swim kind of sound. I'm starting to see it now as a whole. And before it was like a bunch of scatterbrained ideas, but now it's starting to feel like a more cohesive project. And 5 years in, that's pretty exciting to do. And yeah, I hope people can kind of also see that, and it's like, okay, I think they're kind of settling in now to this monster that they've created. That's the goal anyway.
That's awesome. I'm sure your uncle and your mom are probably pretty stoked for you as far as that goes.
Man. I've had some funny iPhone videos of my mom like singing and like rocking out. It's great. Yeah, it's cool to have supportive people in your life, certainly your parents, but it's also cool to have like rocker parents, because it's like, if I was like a mechanic or like something and I was amazing, let's say I was like making these amazing things, my mom doesn't care about cars, but she like loves rock. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, she took you to all those Rush shows, and now she gets to be there while her son's performing, and
it's cool, man.
You learn drums on her kit. Like, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, she is certainly my biggest fan, and yeah, we still go see Rush stuff. We have this like crazy thing like collecting all these like Rush vintage T-shirts, and though she is not a musician, I am a musician because of her, which is pretty funny.
That is so awesome. How many times has she met
oh man,
Eddie Lee?
Only twice, but one time, oh my god, she's probably gonna kill me for this, but one time I wasn't there, but she like just loses it, dude. It was like fandom. Like it was like a 12-year-old meeting Justin Bieber. She just couldn't keep it together. Yeah.
That is so awesome.
And then another time, a little more composed, went to his like bass book signing.
Okay.
And I guess she was able to like, keep it together a little bit there. And they got like a picture, and yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
So funny, dude.
That is awesome. Well, Chris, thank you so much, man, for chatting with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, are we rocking the same interface, my guy? What do you got over there?
I do. Yeah, I got the Scarlett 2i2.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh, I think I just got the Scarlett Solo.
See, I should have bought the Solo, because I bought the 2i2 because it had phantom power, and the mic I was using before was a condenser mic, and it needed phantom power, and then I didn't put together that I need like an expander gate and everything else, because the room noise is ridiculous. So then I bought the DBX, which has an expander gate, but it also has phantom power. So I could have saved $100 on this one. But yeah,
or you just use what I'm using and use one of these, and everybody will hate you.
Yours sounds great, though. It's funny how Zoom does a great job of like compressing the.
I think there must be a built-in gate or something, because I agree. It's like everybody that I talk to, I'm like, "What? Are you an audio guy? Like, why do you sound so good?"
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Yeah,
pretty
so
sweet.
I wish I would have went with the Solo, but
next time.
Next time. Hopefully hopefully it won't die out and you need it next time, but who knows? Well, again, dude, thank you so much for doing this. I have one more question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Oh man. So as I told you, I fell into this lovely position. I spent a lot of time thinking I wasn't the right guy for the job, but that in and of itself, I think, is advice. Just do what you love, do what kind of motivates you, that excites you. When something bounces out of the project that you're making on your computer or whatever, don't worry that if somebody else is going to like it, or even if a bandmate or a label is going to like it. If make sure you are happy with it. Make sure that you can put it in your headphones and listen to your own band and enjoy it. I think that's the best advice. That's what I did. I played in a bunch of bands I hated. Can't Swim was supposed to be for me. Like, I was like, I'm gonna just put this on when I'm rocking in the car, and I think that transparency, that honesty, translates to the people who listen to my band. And I think that would be my biggest advice. Make something you like. It's probably gonna be liked by somebody else. So that's what I would say.